Hey, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. I'm Dr. Arielle Hammond, and this is the Enrichment Entrepreneur, a podcast for current and aspiring entrepreneurs who are in the business of helping kids thrive. We're talking after school programs, summer camps, tutoring, enrichment, the people and places that show up for kids outside the classroom. I'm still building right alongside you, and that's exactly why we're here, to learn, grow, and figure this out together.
Let's go!
Hello and welcome to the Enrichment Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Arielle. If you are not new, welcome back. You know it's me. Hey, nice to see you again. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about hard lessons that I've learned from summer camps. It's interesting how I think I'm kind of done with the hard lessons and then they just keep on coming. So this year, summer camps, they get better every year. We get a bit more efficient. But what I want to talk about in the community is why foolproof protocols are the things that keep kids safe, so that we can stop relying on unicorn hero instructors, and so that our protocols, our processes carry that for us. So I'll start with the first day that I supported a camp, a new instructor this summer. My program manager was on vacation, so it fell on me to support all of our new instructors that were starting at that time. And it was the first week of our summer camp. So quite a few were new. I went to a camp and I had my 3 children with me because I often have my 3 kids with me, especially during summer break. So I had to bring them all, and that was a production in and of itself, but I made it happen. Barely. And we get in there. My toddler is trying to eat the Lego pieces like off the floor. My child that's just about to be old enough to participate, she's kind of looking at what's happening. I'm wondering, should I just have her participate in this session? And then my shy middle child is not knowing what to do and clinging onto my leg this entire time. Meanwhile, I'm helping the instructor with tech questions and issues that she had, things like that, while she's delivering the lesson. And it was interesting. So a lesson that I learned was making sure that instructors really do review the content before their first day. We can say that during hiring, during training, but there should be some type of forcing function there to make sure that they've really gone through the lesson, that they confirm that they have everything that they need. Because even when I was driving there, I get a text, hey, do you have additional name badges? Like, well, that's not something to text me 10 minutes before the start of the program. Had it been earlier, yes, I could have brought them. But making sure that there's a protocol and process in place so that these things happen before the morning of, and so that people don't just wing it. I think this particular instructor was used to like substitute teaching and things like that. And when people have more experience, they tend to rely on that more, just as like a trend. Of course, that's a natural thing to do. Like, I got it. I'm used to this. So I take a quick glance and I assume everything is as I will expect it to be, especially if they've taught those types of programs before. So then also I had an instructor that taught that curriculum and thought, oh yeah, I've taught it before, but the way we teach it is different than another program. So making that clear as well, like even if you are very, very experienced, you could be a retired teacher after 30, 35 years in the classroom. Yes, but every group is different. Every program is different. Every curriculum is different. Every site is different. Like, let's make sure that we are really, really well prepared. So moving forward, in our own platform that we're going to have some forcing functions for preparedness that instructors have to click through, and have to view, kind of like a contract, a waiver. A lot of people don't read them, and there's a forcing function for you to, at the very least, scroll all the way to the bottom. Like, what's a more authentic and effective way to have that type of process in our preparedness? So but that was just one component. So I'm in there, back to the morning of, I'm in there trying to help with the different things that were not brought up until that morning. Some things were brought up at like midnight the night before. So I'm trying to find the answer to her questions at midnight. Like, this isn't ideal. So again, that's a last minute preparedness. We don't want that for ourselves. We don't want that for our program staff. So how can we make sure that that business day, at the very least, the business day before they are teaching that program, that every question has been answered, that every material is where it's supposed to be? And if others have different things that they've done throughout time that have really addressed this, please let us in the community know. We have a Facebook group called the Enrichment Entrepreneur Community. So please join us, and share what works in this area, because I'm still learning myself. One thing that we added was, with the materials moving forward, we will not just, deliver the materials, but our materials coordinator completes an inventory that all of these materials are there. And then we have the instructor also complete the inventory and check off everything. And that is twofold. One, as just double checking, but two, to make sure that they know what is what, because sometimes things can be labeled weird titles. We don't know exactly what was meant by this or that, especially if we're doing like science experiments, what type of beaker and those types of things. We want to make sure that all those questions are answered about the materials then and there. It's right when the instructor is in front of all of our materials. So that is one thing. Back to the morning of, though, this is not even the biggest aha. The biggest aha is making sure that instructors take attendance. A lot of us in this space don't, and that is a huge issue. So we have attendance taking, you have our platform, the rosters are there, it's expected to be done. After this experience, realized that there needs to be a reminder, because the morning of can be chaotic and you can easily forget. Just like in school, when I was an elementary school principal, if attendance wasn't taken by a certain time, and this is working with all licensed, experienced teachers who take attendance every day, still the front office would have to call a classroom or two or three, especially if it was like a chaotic time of the year. It was a class party day or something like that. People may forget to take attendance or forget to take it on time. And the office, that was the forcing function. They would call if it wasn't in by a certain time to remind the teachers to get it done. So we can't do that, but what's a way that we can make sure that attendance is taken in a timely fashion? For us, it's encoding in our operations platform, NROPS, to make sure that instructors get a reminder to take attendance 10, 15 minutes before the program starts. And then if they haven't taken attendance by the start time of the program, they get an alert. And it's all based on an app, because they know that our instructors always had their phones on them, but they might not be by a laptop or things like that. So using mobile alerts to make sure that these protocols are followed, because in this program, there were then 2 students who were not on the roster. So I'm figuring it out in the moment with my own children, trying to navigate and keep the Lego out of the little one's mouth. That was a mess. And I had the kids write down their phone numbers. One didn't really know her phone number. So that was its own challenge. But that is like really something that we have to consider for our businesses now and moving forward. We can't depend on, like it used to be back in the day, a kid is lost. What's your address? They need their address. Now they still don't know their address, and they don't know their parents' phone numbers. or even their parents' last name sometimes. So yeah, or they're like their real name, first and last name. And this is not at a first grade level. I'm talking third, fourth, fifth, and sixth graders. So we can't even assume that if the participants are school age that they know all of these things. A lot of times that information is unknown in this day and age. So we have to have the systems work for us. Fortunately, I was there. Fortunately, I had the background that I do. So that things didn't go awry, but there were some learning and developmental differences that it would have been helpful for us to know beforehand. And imagine if this instructor did not have me there to support that first day and just had participants that weren't on the roster, no information as to who was going to pick up the child, who do I not release to. These things are non-negotiables when we're thinking about keeping kids safe and protecting the integrity of our program. So thinking of those first day jitters and energy and everything that's going on, how do we make sure that those protocols that are essential for us to maintain the safety and integrity of our programs are not just, don't just fall by the wayside. So that was something else that I learned from summer camp. And knowing that the issue that I ran across, not taking attendance before families left, not checking the children in, that is a pattern that we see in our industry, in the market overall. Most of the main players with registration operations in our industry, they don't offer immediate alerts for failed payments. So families think that they're fully registered and they're not. That's a common complaint for SOAR, for example, or they don't provide those alerts for participants who show up and are not on your roster, or who have not finished the registration process, those types of things. So these immediate alerts are design principles that we're taking moving forward and applying to our operations platform, and not just in the area of payment alerts, but especially in the area of participant information alerts.
If you're paying a monthly fee to take registrations or you're losing a cut to a marketplace, then NREPS was built to end that. NREPS is free for businesses, it's free to use, no subscription, no monthly fee, and no marketplace cut. You go from landing page to live in under 5 minutes. For the family signing up, it's even faster than that. No account, no app, a link, a tap, and they are done. There's nothing to migrate. There's nothing to lose. Go to nrops.com, build your first registration, and see it live today.
Another thing that I'm taking away from this summer, the attendance per site tracking for instructors and automating payroll. There is a very real need for help and assistance on that end. So for my own business, we have automated those workflows, and that has been so helpful in keeping payroll accurate for the first time since I've started this business, where it's not relying on my math or instructor's math, but the program math to calculate the totals. That has been just such a affirmation of automations are the way to go, especially for those things that are just clicks that don't add to the user experience, that don't add to the customer's experience or your instructor's experience. And actually, it may add to their experience if they're not having to manually input data that can be calculated on their behalf. So we want their effort as much as possible to focus on those essential protocols that I mentioned earlier and serving the families and serving the children. So another area that I wanted to share my learnings is there's a need for a break and a summer vacation for kids, enrichment businesses as well. So this summer, I took the first vacation I've taken since starting this business, and lessons were learned along the way. Where do things break? Where am I still essential in the work processes? And for me, that's fine because I still do a little bit of work while I'm on vacation. I actually like it. Not a lot, but I like to keep up with things. But there is a need to know, where am I the bottleneck? And there is a need to separate and to disconnect. I came back with just a refreshed perspective that would not have been possible otherwise if I had not taken just a moment and taken a break and then come back to the work. So I've known others in this space who've taken summer breaks before, and I didn't get it until now I get it. I'm especially looking at the data, knowing that the bulk of summer camp participation is in July, followed by June, and most camp participation does not happen in August. We have the actual data and statistics on this in our Enrichment Entrepreneurs Facebook group, so join that if you want the specifics. But yeah, knowing that, and it really aligned with what I've experienced over these past few summers, where demand is softest in August as families get into back to school mode or they take trips. Most families take their trips in August, which I just find interesting. I would think families would take their trips like as soon as school out, or maybe the middle of summer around the 4th of July. But a lot of families make sure that they get their family travel in closer to the start of the school year. And summer camp demand is just much softer during that time. So instead of chasing soft demand and trying to fill programs and things like that, we can be intentional with that time, take our breaks, our vacation for my team without the feeling that a ball is being dropped, or that we still have to be closely tied to our computers or to our phones because we have active customers that we need to provide customer service for, active programs that we need to manage, no matter if we're across the world or not. I want us to be able to do that so that this is a sustainable business without that additional pressure of active service delivery and program management. Because when you have kids actively in your programs, there's only but so much separation. There's only but so much of a break that you can take. So that's lesson 2, is it's okay to take a break, and it's wise to take a break. And I'll be interested to look at my own numbers next year to see, taking the entire month of August off of program delivery, no camps in August, what impact that has on our revenue. So I'll report that next year. And if others have a different experience, specifically with taking breaks over the summer, not offering programs at certain parts of the summer, how does it work for you? Let me know. Let us know in the community. And I see this as like an anti-burnout policy more so than a luxury, because sometimes if we're in this mindset of scarcity, we'll think like, I can't afford to take a break. But what if it's true that you can't afford not to take a break? Like if you want to be in business in 5 years, maybe you can't afford not to take a break. Maybe you can't afford for your team to not take a break. And lesson bucket number 3, new instructors shouldn't start solo. That has been a policy for my business since the beginning, but it was reaffirmed this summer as another instructor on her first day. She interviewed great, but needed a lot of hands-on support day one. And fortunately, I was there. And this is another one where I had my oldest child with me, and she was helping me set up. And I mean, it was really interesting. The instructor was late, still had tech needs, day one, still had questions about the materials and the lesson is about to start in a few minutes. So that further aligns with the first bucket of lessons around like forcing preparedness and making sure that the processes are aligned with what we expect to see from our instructors on day one. And still, even with all of those things in place, you can have as many like mobile alerts and things like that, double checking of inventory lists and things like that as possible. We still want to make sure that we have eyes on our programs, especially when someone is just starting up programs. And hey, best case scenario, okay, cool. You're doing great. We got this. All right. But worst case scenario, fortunately I was here. So that was just a review of a lesson that I've known to be true. And we can't really depend on how someone interviewed or their resume to determine how that's going to go day one, moment one, especially what I'm noticing just in this industry overall. And it's probably true for just working professionals, a lack of professionalism in the workplace, especially with early career candidates and talent. So I've had it where someone just doesn't show up the first day. That's happening more and more over time, or they show up the first day, not the second day, or they show up late. Well, I might make it, I might not. Professional commitments are seen as like optional. I know I said I would do this for this a lot of time, but kind of don't feel like it when the time comes. And that is something that is not unique to my business or even this industry, but that I saw even in my time as a principal. There's just less of a connection to upholding your end of commitments or on the side of talent nowadays. And there are a lot of reasons for that, but that's something for us to know and be aware of and not to be caught by surprise. So we have to be loyal to the families we serve and the children we serve and make sure that someone is there, because you never know when someone is going to be late or just choose not to show up. And we want to make sure that we're always there, ready to deliver. So that was a good reminder for me. So something that is a good idea for us to consider would be with our newer team members, making sure that they can see what excellence looks like, making sure that they can observe either a top performing member of our team or watch us demonstrate a lesson, or I've talked to others in the space who record lessons. Just have those exemplars ready for the program, the curriculum, whatever they're going to teach, so that they can actually see what the standard is and leave as little to be assumed as possible so that no seeds are sown for later resentment, where someone doesn't perform up to our standard that we didn't explicitly state because, well, they should have known this. They should have done this. They should know how to interact with customers. They should know how to interact with parents as they pick up their children. They should know how to end the program on the last day. They should know how to greet children when they come into the instructional setting. They should. But did we? We should make those things explicit. So as much as possible, that's a challenge that I have for myself, is making what is implied explicit, documented, and impossible to miss. So those are my lessons from summer. What are some of yours? Let us know in the community. Join the group, join the conversation, and I look forward to connecting with you all next week. Bye.
And that's a wrap. Know someone who needs to hear this episode? Share it, because
sharing is caring.
If this episode earned it, give us all the stars in a review on whatever platform you're listening on, because it helps other enrichment entrepreneurs find this show.
Until next time, keep learning, keep building.